So far, we have spoken about Black History Month and whether we should still be teaching it and still celebrating it. And we've also spoken about whether you should open a business during a failing economy. So obviously, we can't go throughout the show without speaking about something that's affecting our beautiful Black people currently in Nigeria. So Nigeria's Special Anti-Robbery Squad, also known as SARS, was set up in the 80s to combat a rise in violent crime. Yet stories of SARS officers harassing, assaulting, raping, unlawfully arresting, extorting, and murdering citizens have widely circulated for years. Now, the End SARS movement is calling for an end to police brutality in Nigeria, with protests gathering momentum ever since a video of officers shooting a man dead went viral a few weeks ago. So the Nigerian government, they have said that they're going to disband SARS, but this is the fourth time they've said this. And officers, they're basically saying that officers will be redeployed to another area of the police unit. Currently, peaceful protesters are being met with increasingly bloody violence from police that has left many young Nigerians dead. So what systemic changes are needed to put a permanent end to police corruption and brutality in Nigeria? I know that's a heavy question, but what do you guys think?
I think this is a really tough one. And I think that, like, seeing what's going on in Nigeria, knowing that it's been going on for decades, has just broke my heart. And seeing that they're only really getting a light and a camera to it at the moment because of social media, basically, because when the government's talking, they're saying that, oh, there were no deaths, nothing's going on, blah, blah, blah. But I don't really know how much systematic change can happen in Nigeria, if I'm going to be honest. And that's my honest opinion. And it's really difficult to say because I don't want to make it come across as if I don't care what's going on. But Nigeria, and I hate to say it, was a colonized country. What they've learned about how to run their country, this kind of dictatorship, ruling it through violence, all these different things, they learned this from the people who used to run their countries like that, who have handed it back over. And what we're now seeing is them running a country according to what they have been taught is how you run and keep things in line. And I think that I don't see how much systematic change is going to happen when it's not going to benefit people who want power and want money, because it's working for somebody. That's the point. The people from SARS are stealing money and lining the pockets of people who are higher up. And until that changes, I'm really worried about what long-term systematic can change once the cameras turn off and we get tired of it in a couple of months. And what happens to those people who are going to be living in Nigeria still having to be under what this new team SWAT that they've put up, which is a replacement of SARS. So I don't know. I feel a bit hopeless about it at the moment.
Yeah. Okay, break my heart then. Break my heart, Sophie. That's cool. That's cool.
Really, I didn't even want, like, I'm being so honest, but I think it's really difficult because it's popular people. So what are they going to do? Say we don't want to get funded from it anymore, so we're just going to rework it to help people who are poor in need? What country does that?
Yeah, no, facts. No, I think, to be honest, like what you've just said is actually the way that I look at problem solving, because I always think that no problem exists unless it like negatively affects someone, positively benefits someone else. And when you fix a problem, it's not because the tables have all of a sudden turned. It's because everyone becomes on an equal playing field, or everyone like finds something that works for them, you know? So it's not like, oh, I have all of this power, and like Sophie said, like we're earning money from this, we're earning money from people's abuse, and all of a sudden I'm just going to let that go. It's not going to happen. It doesn't really make sense. And like you said, Anissa, they have been promised like reform like 4 times, 2017, 2018, 2019. And now in 2020, people are too smart to believe that this is the end. They're too smart to believe that this has been disbanded. And even I saw a video clip, and I really tried my best to avoid them because I'm fragile. I'll be honest with you. I can't see, I can't see these kind of things happen and then just go about my day. Like it really affects me. And I saw a video clip of people again being hurt afterwards, and one of the guys in the uniform said, go home, didn't you hear the government announcement? It's been disbanded, guys, you have nothing to, like, go home. But people are still being murdered, so it's absolutely ridiculous. And people are requesting a couple of things for change, and obviously a lot of the things they're asking for is very reasonable. They're asking for a lot of short-term things to happen immediately. They want the protesters to be released from prison. They want victims of SARS to be compensated, or the victims' families if the victims have died. And they want the police officers who have been accused of abuse to be psychologically analysed before they're able to work again. So they have a 5 for 5 list of demands, and now it's expanded to a 7 for 7 list of demands, which is in the short term. And obviously in the long term, they want, institutional change. But there was a Nigerian activist who was being interviewed, and she actually lost her brother to police brutality 8 years ago. And the interviewer was like, well, where do we start? What shall we prioritize? Like, what goes first? Like, you tell us because you've lost your brother, and what should happen first? And she said, all of these things can happen at once. Like, we can do all of this simultaneously. We can just, as long as we start, we can do all of it. Like, there's no reason why all of these things can't happen right now. And so I agree with you, Sophie, when you said the reason why there's been such light on this, because I hadn't heard of this before it was trending on Twitter. I had no idea that this was going on in Nigeria. And so now, and we speak about the power of social media all the time, but the difference is we can click on your lies. Like you just said, you want to tell 100%. Us that nobody dies, but 3 people have uploaded a video where you're shooting into crowds of peaceful protesters.
There's a gun. Now
tell me. Tell me your lies again, and you look ridiculous. But so I think.
Go ahead.
I was
going to say, Luanda, this I think even just goes on to what I think you may have been saying when we talk about Black History Month. I feel like even though that report obviously was asking this activist, what do we do for change? But I feel like as much as we can want change, there has to be acknowledgement from their government that things are going on. And the fact that their president or prime minister went on the news on Friday morning and did not even mention a word about, this person...
I didn't know about this.
He went to release a statement and he did not mention anything about all the protesters that they shot dead. It was basically just kind of like glazing over the subject. So if the person who was leading the country is not even acknowledging that this is happening, then that is crazy to me. And I was listening to a lot of my Nigerian brothers and sisters, to help me educate me and understand and give me more understanding of what's going on in Nigeria. And they've always said, like, they've seen a lot of people say either that Britain needs to get involved, which I don't think is a good idea, or that we need to...
It's Britain's fault. It's already Britain's fault.
Or that we need to raise money to help and stuff. And then they basically said to me that Nigeria's problem isn't money. It never has been money. Like, they're a country that gives oil. There is money isn't an issue. The issue that they have is power and corruption and conflict. So really, if you do a lot of money, you can kind of twist the things that you need to happen. So when I'm thinking about the systemic change, the only way in my mind, and I hate to say it like Sophie did, there can actually be real change is you need a whole new government. That is the only thing for me. Because if your own leader of the country, and not even people in the political party are speaking out about this, you need a government that is outside of the corruption. And that's easier said than done, like say just any government. I don't want to be fair laissez in saying that, but I'm just thinking about, obviously it was on a much smaller scale, but I don't know if you guys remember in 2009 in the Turks and Caicos, how their government actually got suspended. It got just taken out because the corruption in Turks and Caicos was just at an all-time high, and the prime minister, he actually fled the country, and they found him years later in Brazil and had to arrest him. But it was just that so much was going on in Turks and Caicos that the British, who they were free from, had to step back in and shut their whole government down and said, you can't have a government, rude boy. It's not happening. Anyway, 2012, they got their government back.
You have the best quotes.
I don't think it was a good thing that the British stepped back in and that they could step back in. I'll never say that. But the whole point was that whole government was not working. They had to shut it down. They've got a brand new government now. And from what I've seen, it doesn't look like the corruption is flowing. I don't know. But it's the only way sometimes I think you can sometimes drive change is out with the old, in with the new. But I would never recommend the British getting involved. I just would say that.
I will start singing High School Musical if you say that again.
I've seen some people talking about the Brits need to get involved, people from the West need to get involved and go in there and break it up. And there's absolutely not the right
They wanted Beyonce to break it up.
My thing is, how are the Brits going to, I'm not joking, how are the Brits going to break this up when they created this system?
They made this system. This is
and
a British problem.
Over there, how are they going to break it up? By bringing in armed forces and using violence to stop violence?